I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, March the 5th. And here on a Monday, that's where some of these guys in the Southern Plains like to give their fat cattle away $2 cheaper than the last established price like they did last week. But don't give it away this week, guys. We've still got several weeks here of light market-ready supplies. These packers are needing their cattle. They've got these cutout values launched up there. They're selling this meat pretty high. They're wanting to keep the chain speeds up there because they're making money. Don't give the cattle away this week. At least put up a good fight till Thursday or Friday. But we do need to keep selling the cattle to try to put off that big wall of cattle that's going to be coming up, as we get into April and May. But look at the board for last week. April live cattle futures ended the week at 122.17, down $2.68 for the week. Now we've got June to look forward to since we lost February and April's our spot. We're looking off into June, and it's a big drop off down to 114.40. April feeder cattle board 145.27 to end the week. That was down $3.23. March ended at 143.67, down 233. But look off out there in the horizon at your fall feeder cattle futures. August, September, and October all over 150. We might be used to that with the August because it's usually tops on your feeder contracts, but September and October selling that well, and that's when the calves come to town. So a very impressive market out there for feeder cattle come fall. Look at your fat trade for last week. Like I said, they established that 126 in Southern Plains on Monday, left everybody else holding the bag. But you got to give it to the Northern Plains feeders. They just were real reluctant to give it up, and ended up the bulk of the trade was at 127. Yeah, 126 was established and was the market for the Southern Plains, but the Northern Plains would not take that, and for the most part they got 127 for their good cattle. And in fact, your weighted average on live steers in the 5 areas feeding region was 126.80, so that goes to show how much more of that 127 there was. 81,000 head volume in the 5 area feeding region through Thursday. Probably have a few more on Friday as the guys have gotten to where they do that too. But that 126 to mostly 127 was $1.50 to $2 lower. Now they got to negotiate their dress price and would not give any ground on that. Still selling 204, 205 for the 3rd week in a row, although we only sold about 15,000 that way because your packers were not really excited about giving that, because you put a decent dress price, even with our dressing percentage, even on that 204, and that makes those cattle bring back over $1.30. So we didn't see a whole lot of trade that way. A lot of trade on the grid, but we're talking about negotiated cash here. But your dressed steer weighted average through Thursday was 204.30. So there was, several numbers at 205, but that was mostly steady to $1 lower. Box beef cutout values, the average trade for the week, higher again, not as much higher as the previous week, but still gaining. But choice cutouts on the average trade for the week, 221.18, up $4.65. But Friday afternoon's trade was even higher than that, 222.50. And select boxes, average trade for the week, 214.97, up $4.04. But your Friday late trade was actually a little bit lower than that. And we're starting to see a disparage between your choice and select cutouts, and you'd think that it was grilling time the way guys are buying this beef. But we're starting to see a wider spread between choice and select. It was $6.21 on the average trade this past week. Slaughter was pretty respectable, 608,000. It's always good when you see it go over 600,000 on harvest. That was up 36,000 compared to the previous week, and up 18,000 from the same week a year ago. Real-time index on Beef Market Central, based on the 800-pound steer, ended the week at 144.53. That was down $3 even for the week. So we saw that these big feeding cattle are starting to really tail off in the price, even though we're running out of them. But our pen space is very limited. Most of the feedlots are full. A lot of your farmer feeders are getting full, and everybody's turning their attention towards grazing cattle, and that's hurting the market on your big feeders. But cash feeders in the sale barns mostly steady to $2 lower from the early high volume sales up through the middle of the week, but then turning $3 to $5 lower late after we saw the disappointing cash for feedlot trade. But calves and stockers selling really well. You're just calfy calves there, selling off not too long off the cow. A lot of them fleshy, just like they are, you know, when we see the calves coming to fall, just because they're coming this time of year and they're fall calves. There's still a lot of those are fleshy too, and steady to $3 higher on those. But a true stocker, a thin fleshed, kind of a calf weight yearling with a lot of go to it and a compensatory gain, those kind of cattle, and your peewee calves, little lightweight calves weighing under 4.5 really, $5 to $8 higher, and guys are just going crazy for them. We've got guys trying to get cattle put together, still early, but you know, guys have been buying grass cattle since 1st of January. But those guys are now having to compete with these guys that have graze out wheat that they pulled cattle off of here probably a month, 6 weeks ago because it played out. Now they've got moisture out there in Oklahoma and in Kansas and places, and expecting pretty good graze out wheat. This wheat is resilient, guys. You can grow it in a parking lot if you get any moisture at all, and it's coming back. And the guys are going to graze that out. They could make a crop out of it still if they wanted to, but most of them will graze it out, and they're going to need another set of cattle. But you look at some individual quotes late in the week. Dunlap, Iowa livestock auction sold 120 head of 911-pound steers at $140.5. Burwell, Nebraska, always blowing the doors off of things. 120 head of 562-pound steers bring $2.20. That's your feeder flash for Monday.